Hello and welcome to this session. Learning Outcome, LO4. Understand the suasive instruments available to affect change related to environmental and social issues. Voluntary actions can be powerful drivers of environmental and social change. Unlike regulatory measures, suasive instruments rely on persuasion, awareness, and moral responsibility to encourage individuals, communities, and organizations to act differently. In this session, we will explore how these tools influence behavior, why people respond to them, and the debates that arise around their effectiveness and limitations. Suasive instruments are voluntary measures that promote self-regulation. They include labels, certifications, and voluntary agreements. These tools aim to influence behavior through communication and awareness. Unlike regulations, they don't impose penalties. Their effectiveness depends on how people respond to information and social norms. Public awareness campaigns use media to educate on environmental issues. They inform about problems like climate change and pollution. Campaigns encourage behaviors such as recycling and energy saving. Examples include recycling adverts and climate awareness messaging. However, without financial incentives, their impact is often limited. Eco-labels provide information to help consumers make informed choices. They signal that products meet certain environmental standards. Examples include fair trade and organic certifications. However, there's a risk of greenwashing, where labels exaggerate sustainability. High certification costs can also exclude small producers. Companies voluntarily disclose their environmental performance. Reports like CSR and ESG disclosures are common examples. They aim to increase transparency and accountability. Critics argue these reports often lack independent verification. Some companies may use them more for public relations than genuine improvement. Nudges guide people toward better choices without restricting freedom. They change decision contexts to make sustainable options easier. Examples include default green energy tariffs and recycling queues. Nudges are effective for small decisions, but less so for major behaviors. Ethical concerns arise about manipulation without consent. Education builds long-term awareness of environmental issues. It equips people with skills for sustainability challenges. School programs and workplace training are common examples. However, measuring the impact of education can be difficult. Engagement levels vary, with younger groups often more receptive. Voluntary codes are non-binding commitments to sustainable practices. They encourage higher standards than legally required. Examples include plastic reduction commitments and ethical sourcing codes. Without enforcement, companies might ignore targets, leading to symbolic compliance. Adoption varies across industries, creating uneven standards. Citizen science involves communities in environmental data collection. It builds engagement and provides evidence for policy decisions. Examples include local air quality monitoring and biodiversity surveys. This approach encourages collective ownership of environmental protection. It empowers communities to participate in sustainable solutions. Suasive instruments are low-cost and easy to implement. They encourage voluntary, long-term cultural change. These tools are flexible and adaptable across various contexts. They avoid resistance associated with taxes or regulation. Suasive instruments also build public support for stronger policies. Without economic support, suasive instruments have limited impact. There's a risk of greenwashing with eco-labels and reports. Measuring their effectiveness is challenging due to complex factors. They may have unequal impacts across social groups. Behavior change is often small or temporary. Suasive instruments raise awareness and shape social norms. They are low cost and politically acceptable. However, they lack enforcement power and can't compel change. The best results come when combined with economic and regulatory tools. They shift attitudes but need structural support for deep change. Eco-labels are more effective with minimum product standards. Awareness campaigns work better with convenient recycling infrastructure. Nudges gain impact when supported by financial incentives. Combining tools creates a comprehensive approach to change. Suasive instruments complement regulations for stronger results. Campaigns use media to spread messages on environmental issues. They aim to inform and persuade the public. Examples include climate messaging and anti-litter campaigns. Campaigns shape social norms by promoting sustainable behavior. However, their impact is limited without ongoing support. Eco-labels guide consumers towards sustainable products. They provide credibility by meeting certain standards. However, greenwashing can undermine trust in labels. High costs pose barriers for small producers. Despite risks, eco-labels remain essential for informed consumer choices. Voluntary reporting increases corporate transparency. It provides information to investors and the public. However, reports often lack independent verification. Companies might focus on image rather than real improvement. Despite limitations, transparency tools encourage accountability. Nudges subtly guide behavior without limiting freedom. They use psychology to make sustainable options more appealing. Examples include smart meters and recycling prompts. Nudges are effective for small decisions, but less so for major changes. Ethical concerns arise over manipulation without consent. Environmental education builds awareness and skills. It encourages responsible citizenship and sustainability. School programs and workplace training are key examples. Measuring impact is challenging, but education fosters long-term change. Engagement varies, with younger groups often more receptive. Voluntary codes promote higher sustainability standards. They encourage collective responsibility within industries. However, without enforcement, compliance may be symbolic. Adoption varies, leading to uneven industry standards. Despite challenges, codes influence corporate behavior positively. Citizen science involves communities in environmental monitoring. It builds engagement and provides data for policy decisions. Examples include air quality monitoring and biodiversity surveys. This approach empowers communities to protect the environment. It fosters collective ownership of sustainable solutions. In conclusion, we have learned that recognizing both the strengths and limitations of a system is essential for achieving sustainability. If you'd like to know more or have any questions, you can reach us on 074843616888. Our team is here to help. Thank you, and we'll see you at the next session.